I continue to analyze old episodes of ISOtoilet for you. In this video, we're going to talk about Season 10. I think it is very interesting because right in these episodes, the parasites appeared. I will show you all the secrets and Easter eggs of episodes 30, 31, and 32. We're going to talk about the parasites, Skibidi Scientist, Infected Titan, and the TV Men. Yes, they haven't shown up yet this season, but why does Cameraman need that camera protection? Get your tea and snacks ready. This video is going to be interesting. Let's go. Episode 30 takes place in some kind of hangar, probably the new Skibidi base. There are bodies of cameramen and broken cameras with wires. I think this is where they were doing some kind of experiments. Maybe the Skibidi researched the parasites and made them so they could control the agents, but not destroy them. Unfortunately, these cameramen were destroyed during the tests. These toilets are used to act as handcuffs and hold the tested cameraman. Notice that there's a black camera on the floor, and it seems to belong to this brown cameraman. Skibidi Scientist has definitely looked better since our previous visit to him. He now has a stylish black toilet and mechanical arms. Here are two on the sides and one big one on top. This is necessary in his work because how else will he create his inventions? I think he has a few engineers on his team with the same mechanical arms. Otherwise, I don't know how they managed to build huge Skibidi mutants. He also made a scanner or something for himself. The new version of the enlarged Skibidi Scientist has this scanner built right into his eye. And apparently he didn't work in his lab for nothing for so long before we saw him. This new invention is a real turning point in the battle. Parasites are a serious threat even in the newest episodes, because they can turn any of the strongest fighters into an enemy. Here's the very first version of the parasite. It has 4 legs. But in the new episodes, we see that the parasites become different. They have additional arms to better attach to the agent. They also don't have a flush lever, although maybe that's it, I don't know. Either way, their cistern looks very strange. But if the parasite can't be flushed, how can it be destroyed? I think it can be flushed out with a plunger. That's what the Plunger Man was created for. And then there's another option, which was shown to us by the TV woman in episode 57. There's a strange thing that happens to the cameraman after he's been infected. His fingers elongate and the music, Skibidi Dop Dop Yes Yes, plays from somewhere. Even though he doesn't even have a speaker. And here's the best part. This guy is wearing a camera protector, the exact same one we were given by TV Men in episode 40. I have a couple of possibilities as to how this could have happened. First, this protection could have been given to him by Skibidi, because it's related to the parasite. But for some reason, the other infected agents don't have any protection. I suspect there was some kind of bright light tests in this lab, and this agent was part of them. But the problem is that the only Skibidi who blinded the agents is Penguinzo, and he showed up 31 episodes after that. So I suspect that somewhere in the Skibidi Toilets labs, the TV Men were testing. Specifically the big TV Man, well, and possibly the Titan. As we remember, the glow of regular TV Men doesn't blind others, it just hypnotizes them. The big cameraman under the control of the parasite starts attacking his mate, and Skibidi Toilet smiling happily behind him. By the way, there are quite a few of them on the sides here as well. Probably it's a team that helps the scientist in creating new soldiers. There's also a ladder here, but the Skibidi Toilets can't climb it. So it's very likely that there's someone with a human body among them, if you know who I mean. But there's also the possibility that the cameraman was wearing this defense from the beginning. We know there's a cameraman base somewhere. Maybe they were already negotiating with the TV men back then and testing this defense. This agent just forgot to take it off, went to fight and was captured by Skibidi Toilets, who knows. In the next episode, the Skibidi are already using infected agents in combat, and this causes big problems for the Alliance. Notice that all the big cameramen here are dressed unusually and stylish. Also remember this guy. We'll see him later in episode 34. And this way explains why the Plunger Man chose the plunger. It turns out that Skibidi Toilets don't have to be flushed the normal way. They can just be pushed inside the toilet forcefully. So far, these are the coolest sneakers in the entire Skibidi Toilet series, by the way. Now look how much force the big cameraman uses to flush Skibidi with his foot. Now I'm even more amazed by the Plungerman, because he does it with his hands while being much smaller in size. Apparently he's very strong. All infected agents here also have their fingers elongated. The parasite is also visible, just sticking out of the back and can be destroyed. You can also hit it with a hypno cannon or anti-parasitic cannon, which will cure the agent. That's why the regular parasites are no longer used in the new episodes. But here, the idea of infecting Titan still looks very effective because he's huge and strong. It's not easy to get to the parasite behind Titan's back. But the parasites from the multiverse in general have moved to a new level and now penetrate inside of his body. Among the infected ones, there is also a speaker man in a white suit. He's probably a scientist, and it's weird that he was infected. Why wasn't this guy on the base or in the lab? Notice how high this infected cameraman jumped. It's unlikely he could do that before. Perhaps that's the ability that was being tested in the Skibidi scientist's lab. We also see a broken camera, and it's most likely the exact same cameraman from last episode. The ending of this episode is in reversed reference to the other one. Remember how it used to end with the Skibidi attacking the POV and possibly destroying him? Now at the end of the episode, the POV is attacked again. Just not by Skibidi, but by his own infected friend. It's really funny. In general, the parasites have turned the tide of battle in this season and caused a lot of problems for the Alliance. In episode 32, a lot of interesting things happened that you might not have noticed. Here, the Skibidi have sent a squad of infected agents to fight against the Alliance. There are agents lying around with their cameras ripped off and destroyed toilets. Now, notice this guy right here. Is that the plunger man? Yeah, he got hit hard by a big cameraman, but it's a robot. Come on. What if he's just been upgraded a little bit since then and got revenge? At least this is the first agent who's ever used a plunger against Skibidi toilets. And this guy just gives the Skibidi toilet a smacky slaps in the face and flushes him. Notice how this toilet here is trying to eat the big cameraman. It looks like he's got a mechanism inside that's pulling the agent in. And it's very strange because he's not even a mechanized Skibidi. He looks alive. This is also the last time we see the spider camera because it's useless. Skibidi can be destroyed by flushing them out, attacking their brains, or throwing them somewhere so they explode. Normal shots were not effective here, RIP spider camera. By the way, that sign right there is exactly the same as the one on the improved Titan cameraman's head. A huge Skibidi soldier appears on the battlefield afterward. I am sure this was just a decoy for the Titan speaker man. Skibidi the scientist and his new big parasites were waiting on the roof of the house the whole time. As soon as Titan was distracted by this trooper, the parasites jumped up by his scruff and did their thing. By the way, these are the lasers that G-Man had in episode 38. And the exact same laser cannons were on G-Man Imposter in episode 60, if you remember. I've already talked about why G-Man has many clones, and why these lasers are really weak and decorative. Watch my video right here to find out the whole truth about G-Man after you're done with that. Because there's a lot more interesting stuff in this episode. Big Speaker Man just grabs the infected agent and doesn't destroy him. He just doesn't know what to do with him. I think he just took him somewhere to free him from the parasite. Maybe it's the same infected, caged cameraman who was cured in episode 35. Speakerman apparently knows some techniques. He fights the infected cameraman and defeats him. And here you can see a whole squad of Speakermen. And many of them are in white and gray suits. If these are scientists, then who in the world decided to send them out to fight? Their job is to be on base and come up with cool inventions for the Alliance to defeat the Skibidi. When the Titan arrives and fights the trooper, we see that the Skibidi soldier is actually very weak. He just looks creepy, brightly painted, and that's it. I think it's done so that the agents call Titan for help, and the scientist has already done his thing after that. By the way, these parasites are much bigger than usual. Remember how the past ones could fit in his mouth? Also, there were 2 parasites, and that's a great plan. While Titan was distracted by one of them, the second one was able to infect him and take control. And this is where the scary thing happened. The only Titan left at that moment became a weapon of the Skibidi toilets. His core began to burn yellow. The scientist just continued to stand on the roof and watch his creation. By the way, here's this cameraman just continued to lie in this pose on the ground like Speakerman broke him or something. In the end, Titan destroys Speaker Spider, and then the POV cameraman, and that's the end of the season. The Alliance is in big trouble, and the scientists immediately need to invent anti-parasite cannon. But we'll talk about that in one of the next videos. Subscribe to my Instagram to be the first to know. Only Titan left at that moment became a weapon of the Skibidi toilets. His core began